In the early 1600s, the forests and rivers of New England were alive with trade alliances and fragile peace. The Pequot, one of the most powerful tribes in the region, controlled the fur trade along the Mystic River, their influence stretching across what is now Connecticut. But as English colonists from Massachusetts Bay, Plymouth, and Saybrook expanded their settlements, tension brewed beneath the surface. By 1636, a deadly chain of events ignited open war. The murder of a trader named John Alden on Block Island was blamed on the Narragansett, but the colonists turned their fury toward the Pequot. Massachusetts Bay sent armed men to punish them, and in retaliation, Pequot warriors struck at Wethersfield, killing settlers and taking captives. The colonists, enraged, declared war. The rivers that once carried trade would soon carry blood. The Pequot War had begun, and it would forever change the destiny of native and settler alike in New England. As 1637 dawned, the English colonies gathered their forces. Captain John Mason led troops from Connecticut, joined by allies from the Mohegan and Narragansett tribes, longtime rivals of the Pequot. Mason's plan was simple but brutal: strike directly at the Pequot stronghold near Mystic. The Pequot, led by their sachem Sassacus, fortified their village on a hill overlooking the river. Hundreds of men, women, and children sought safety behind wooden palisades. The English approached under cover of darkness on May 26, 1637, surrounding the sleeping village. At first light, the attack began. Muskets roared, arrows flew, and chaos filled the air. When the English could not breach the walls, they set the village ablaze. The flames consumed everything. Trapped inside, the Pequot perished in their hundreds. Those who tried to flee were cut down. By sunrise, over 400 Pequot men, women, and children lay dead. Mason later wrote, "We must burn them. God was pleased to smite our enemies." It was not a battle. It was a massacre that stunned even Mason's native allies. News of the Mystic Massacre spread swiftly through the colonies and the native nations. To the English, it was a decisive victory. To the Pequot, it was a night of horror beyond words. Survivors fled westward, seeking refuge with the Mohawks and other tribes. But the Mohawks, fearing English retaliation, captured Sassacus himself and sent his severed head to the English as a peace offering. The surviving Pequot people were hunted relentlessly. English troops driven by fear and revenge raided the countryside, burning crops, destroying villages, and killing those who resisted. Many Pequot women and children were captured and sold into slavery in the West Indies or forced to serve English families. By the end of 1637, the Pequot nation was shattered. What had begun as a conflict over trade and power had turned into a campaign of extermination. The colonists, now triumphant, began dividing Pequot lands among themselves and their native allies. But beneath the surface, guilt and fear haunted the victors. The following year, in 1638, colonial leaders met to formalize their victory. The Treaty of Hartford declared that the Pequot nation no longer existed. Survivors were forbidden to call themselves Pequot, forbidden to return to their ancestral lands, forbidden even to speak their own name. Any remaining members were absorbed into the Mohegan and Narragansett tribes, their identity erased from official record. But memory cannot be erased so easily. Across the forests and rivers of New England, whispers of the massacre endured. The Mohegan told stories of fire and betrayal. The Narragansett recalled the horror of what they had witnessed and later regretted their part in it. Some colonists too began to question whether such total destruction could ever be justified. The Mystic Massacre revealed the terrible cost of colonization. It marked the beginning of a pattern that would be repeated across the continent: conflict, conquest, and cultural erasure. The Pequot War was over, but its echoes reached far into America's future. Centuries later, the Pequot name rose from the ashes. Descendants who had hidden their lineage began reclaiming their heritage. In the 20th century, the Mashantucket Pequot and the Eastern Pequot tribes gained federal recognition, rebuilding their communities on lands once drenched in blood. Today, the Pequot people stand as living proof that even after near destruction, a nation's spirit can endure. Historians like Alfred and Alden Vaughan have called the Pequot War the first true colonial war in North America, a blueprint for how future conflicts would unfold between settlers and native nations. It exposed the fragility of peace and the brutality of expansion. The Battle of Mystic Village remains one of the darkest chapters in early American history, a moment when fear and power overcame mercy and humanity. Do you believe the Pequot War was an inevitable clash of worlds, or a tragedy that could have been avoided? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to @HistoryTV for more forgotten stories that shaped our world.